Katt and Mr podcast! Oh, yeah!
This interrogation is off to a very bizarre start.
I'm sorry, sir. Can you please? I just want to see my daughter.
No.
Dang it.
She's dead.
Oh, okay.
She's in a jar.
Jar?
You ever played Resident Evil 7?
Nah.
Okay, then. Welcome, everybody, to the Cat Girl Film Podcast, episode Who Knows. Today, we'll be on, oh boy, we're actually near the halfway point.
Yup.
But we're on number 26. What shall we be reviewing today, Brees?
Today, we'll be reviewing probably one of the best-known films that are going to be on these lists.
Yeah,
I would say.
At least, like, one that is culturally significant, while the other one has a pretty sizable cult following.
Yeah, like, I was talking about the first one we're reviewing today.
Cultural
yeah, it is a
phenomenon.
cultural phenomenon. It might be the best film, like the best known film we'll be covering the top 50. Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes. Not Indiana Jones Raiders of the Lost Ark.
No, this is before it became this is just when it was a passion project. Just Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep. I'm trying to remember the origin of Indiana Jones, because wasn't it originally a George Lucas idea?
Yep. This was originally an idea by George Lucas, but George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, they were the film brats. They went to school together, they had all their classes together, very good friends. George Lucas came up with the idea, but he wasn't wanting to make it, he just really liked the idea, and Steven Spielberg went, I could do that, and then he made it.
Yep. And it has a very fun character of an actor that we both cherish.
Mm-hmm. Someone we're not even close to done talking about on these lists.
I don't believe so, no.
Not even close. Harrison Ford.
Harrison hates George Lucas and Star Wars with a passion.
Yep.
Ford.
Yep.
Well, maybe not hate George Lucas, but he definitely hates Star Wars with a burning passion.
Yeah. I think it's mostly just simply because when people talk to him, they're just like, "Hey, it's like you're on Solo," and it's just like, please talk to me about anything else. Because
talk to me about Blade Runner, for God's sakes, or
anything
else.
I think it's partly just because Star Wars was such a culturally significant movie, everyone knows about it.
Yep.
So every human interaction he has is involving that. He's just like, talk to me about literally anything that's not that. Mm-hmm. It's not so much just talk to me about any film or any other thing. It's just Star Wars was so culturally significant. It completely changed how people observe movies.
Mm-hmm.
So
pretty much defined a genre as well.
I would say multiple genres, even. Star Wars was a culturally... But either way, we're talking about Raiders of the Lost Ark today.
Which also defined a genre in some ways.
Yes, this brought back the adventure.
Adventure.
So, adventure was never, fully away.
Yeah.
But
I mean,
this...
it's one of the oldest genres of, if you want to talk about literature, it's up there as, one of the oldest and most beloved genres ever.
Yeah, dare say I even call a Don Quixote an adventure book.
Yeah, in a way it is. But, so, with that out of the way.
Yep.
I don't have no background information on Raiders of the Lost Ark. It's pretty much been around since I was very, very little.
Yeah, it's been around for a long time. I watched it when I was young, quite young. But my favorite when I was younger, for what should be obvious reasons, was Last Crusade.
Oh, God.
Loved Last Crusade.
Yep.
But as I got older, I was like, Raiders of the Lost Ark is just a factually better movie.
Honestly, in terms of the original trilogy, I actually like them all. Yes, even Temple of Doom.
Wow, okay.
I do like Temple of Doom because of how stupid it can be.
That's fair. I think Temple of Doom is good in parts, but I think overall it's not great. I don't think it's bad. It's just not.
It's still funny to watch
Yeah.
Kim Hui Kwan. He was after the Goonies fame and all that stuff, and it's I think this was his last major role before coming back, but I digress. Let's talk about Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yes.
All right.
So, Raiders of the Lost Ark, it is a revitalization of classical early 20th century adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So this is following a lot of, like, radio plays and, like, adventure comic books and, like, all of that sort of genre about someone going to, like, an abandoned temple and, like, taking the thing and then, like...
There's only one book I can think of it reminds me of. It's, is it called King Solomon's Mines?
Okay, I'm not familiar, so...
It's, basically, like, it's about the whole thing of, like, oh, King Solomon, he had a whole mine full of diamonds and stuff, and I'm trying to remember the main character's name that's supposed to be, like, our surrogate Indiana Jones. I think it was, like, Quatermain, I think his name was.
Alright.
Arthur Quatermain. And, like, yeah, it was, like, very similar to Raiders of the Lost Ark, but, yeah, King Solomon's Mines came way before it, but not saying, oh, this is an adaptation or anything. No, it's not. It's just, it reminded me of it whenever I got older and I read more books and I was reading King Solomon's Mines because I heard, oh, this is a good adventure story. I was like, this is reminding me a lot of Raiders of the Lost Ark in some ways.
Yeah.
I digress. So,
but it follows a lot of the classical adventure, which is very much reminiscent of the Victorian spirit, which was, there was a huge race in Europe at the time period that colonialization had kind of reached a fervor. Like, it had reached its peak. And there was so many different corners that actually exploring the land wasn't really that big anymore. Mm-hmm. So, like, they basically explored almost every corner you reasonably could.
Yeah.
So they began doing what was the next reasonable thing, going backwards in time. They had conquered all of this land. What can they find on this land? And it became a race between different people to find old objects and find stories behind them to then turn around and sell them. And that became a huge fervor because that was the new way of exploration, and the people who were good at it competed heavily. It was a cutthroat business. So you see a lot of that kind of stuff during the time period. And this is very much based off of the waves of media that was made after that. Mm-hmm. Because there was a lot of media made about the people who do that. They've developed a era of adventure, the going out, acquiring stuff for a museum to, like, sell that around, all that kind of thing.
I mean, it literally highlights it in the movie where they literally say it belongs in a museum.
Yeah, that it's more standout in Last Crusade, I would say.
Yeah.
Because that's literally, like, a line he keeps saying to the point of being funny.
Wait, it came from Crusade? I can't remember.
No, it's also in this one.
Yeah.
But, like, he says it, like, once. And it's, like, it's not even, like, that big of a deal. In Last Crusade, they open with it, he says it, like, 5 times.
That's so great. I haven't seen Last Crusade in quite a number of years, honestly, so it's, like, fuzzy in my head, but yeah, it's funny. Alright, so, if you are new to our show, I want you to let you know that we typically review our movies on this channel through our 4 quadrants of different criteria on what we look for. So the first one is going to be about writing.
Yes.
So, bare bones, what is the story? By the way, spoilers ahead. We fully expect our viewers to watch these movies, but
yes.
I digress. So,
if we're reviewing it, that means we recommend it.
Yes. Which, the writing. What is the bare bones plot, you could say, about this movie?
So this follows an archaeology professor.
Yes.
Who, in about the 1940s, around that, during World War II...
I would say, like, late 30s, early 40s.
That's fair, because it's before... the Americans might be in. I don't remember. Because the Americans are getting involved about it. But...
somewhere around there. I mean,
yeah.
We got involved, like, during the early 1940 or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. So, like... could be around, like, 1940, but it's around World War II, and it is following the idea that the Nazis were very much obsessed with the occultism.
They very much were.
Yes. In case you don't know, the Nazis themselves believed there was this mythological idea the Nazis had where they were looking around at different societies And they were looking at the Egyptians, the Chinese, the Greeks, the Romans, all of these different places had these massive, sprawling cultures. Germany didn't have that.
Yeah.
The Germanic lands, Germania, remains, like, it wasn't nothing.
I mean, with Germany, though, like, it's a very new thing.
Yeah.
Even like, they've only been a, quote-unquote, like, fully unified nation state ever since, like, the late 1800s. So they're very young in terms of, like, you know, age of countries, for example. But, like, you have different ethnic groups of, like, all these different Germanic people.
Yep.
So, like, there's not one unified Germanic culture. It's just you have a literal, like, I don't like to always say it, but it's, like, literally a melting pot of, like, these are all unified under some shared cultural identities, but they are usually considered to be German.
Yeah, because Germany falls in a weird spot. To the north, it has the Danes. To the west, it has the Franks. To the east, it had the Huns.
Yeah.
And also to the north, like, if you were to go to the northeast, you also had the Scandinavians.
Mm-hmm.
And then finally, to the south, you had the Italians.
Mm-hmm.
And also on top of that, you had the Himalayas, and you also, to the east, you had the...
You mean the Alps? Because the Himalayas...
Alps, sorry, yes, yeah. Alps. God,
I heard that, I was like, wait, you mean, that's in India and stuff like that.
Yeah, no, Alps. Wrong mountain range,
I know what you meant, but I was like, clarifying, no, we mean Alps.
Yes, sorry. Alps. And then to the east, they have... Not Carpathia. They do have Carpathia, but, like, what's it called? The mountain range out there. That's, it blocks it out from the east. But, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Because it's, the far end north of the, Balkans.
Because wouldn't you be close... Yeah, you're going to be close to the Balkans and also Greece.
Yeah, it was the far northern end of the Balkan Peninsula.
Okay,
so.
yeah.
But so it's not the Balkan Mountains, but it's the north of that. It's
But still, though, like, to make our point known here is that the Nazis were very much interested in.
Yeah, so
they were interested in, like, weird, like, very out there occultist stuff. Like, for example, like, they sent out scientists out to, like, Antarctica and random places of the world to quote unquote find the Hollow Earth.
Yeah.
There's a.
So what it was is they became obsessed with occultism because there was all these big cultures, and Germany had the theory that Germania also had that, but it was destroyed and what they had was taken away. Mm-hmm. And they were obsessed with finding the relics of old Germania.
Yep.
So they sent people out everywhere hunting down these little bits and bobs, and on top of that, they also had extreme cultism in the, in Judaism tradition, because they were interested in removing it.
Yes.
So they were actively trying to hunt down Germanic occultism and destroy any involving in the Hebrew religion.
Mm-hmm. Or at least, like, anything within the Abrahamic tradition. Mainly,
fair.
Mainly Judaism and Christianity. I don't really know how much they were interested in Islamic mysticism or anything like that.
They couldn't really get down to the major fields of that, because, like, the closest they probably could have done was Spain, but Franco was there by that period.
That's true, yeah, they weren't going to fuck around with Franco.
And after that, they could move down to the deserts, but that was predominantly in Italy. That was in the Sahara. So.
Yeah, Italy was doing that because they wanted to rebuild the Roman Empire, which, good luck with that.
So outside of that, they could have gone into Arabia and Persia, but UK had that under lock.
Yeah.
So they probably were not getting into...
If anything, they were mostly concentrated around Central Europe, which would be their homeland, Eastern Europe, which you were teetering into Soviet territory, and even parts of South America they were teetering into because the Nazis, a lot of them ran away to Argentina.
Yep, exactly.
So it's really the best as you can really go for, but yeah, a large amount of people even said that at one point maybe, because like the whole crux thing is that the Nazis were after the Ark of the Covenant, which is from the Book of Exodus, supposedly holds the Ten Commandments and several other Jewish relics.
Yes.
So
If you need to know more, I recommend going and watching the Ten Commandments.
I literally have my Bible somewhere on my desk
Yeah,
right
don't
there.
read that.
I was like, do you really want to read the Bible? I mean, it actually does tell you all the different relics that are in it, because I think it was I know Moses' brother Aaron is supposed to be the first priest of the temple, and he had, I think, his staff or something in it, but we're not getting into biblical type or whatever. I just
Yeah, so, however, there is one thing I do want to tackle on.
What?
Because we actually do tackle a lot of Abrahamic mythology in this. It is a very huge part of the actual movie.
Yeah.
In case you're not aware, at least the first three Indiana Jones, they kind of abandoned this as they made later ones, and Harrison Ford just kept dying on, becoming a walking husk.
Oh, man.
But the original three was all focused around theology.
Yes.
Theological artifacts. So, this one is focusing on Abrahamic, predominantly well known for being a Jewish artifact.
Yes.
Which is the Ark of the Covenant, the Lost Ark.
Mm-hmm.
Hence the name of the movie.
Hooray!
Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Wow, they said it.
So, how much do you actually have to say about the integrity that they keep because you are much more into Abrahamic mythology than I am.
Yeah, you could say that. I love reading about religion. It is my weird niche of things that I do almost on a daily basis. I mean, shoot, how many Bible translations do I have? It's a boatload. But the point is, do they represent the Ark of the Covenant as far as I'm aware of? Yeah, actually pretty close. Because, from how, at least in the Old Testament as we know it as, the Ark of the Covenant is essentially like God saying to Abraham, well, not Abraham actually, it would be Moses and the Israelite people, this right here is going to be representative of my covenant to you in a sense. However, there are things inside of this thing that need to be protected, but you're not allowed to touch it because it withholds my divine will. And eventually, the Ark of the Covenant, the Ark of the Covenant, sorry. It was.
Okay, you went Ark of the Covenant, then you backed up on it, and then went back to it again.
Yeah, I saw what I did there. Look, the point is that it has several major relics within the Jewish faith of that time when it had the temple. The Ark of the Covenant literally was within the temple until it was destroyed in 72 AD. My years are off a little bit, but it was essentially around that time when the Romans destroyed Jerusalem and therefore the Second Temple, in which, the Jewish diaspora sprawled everywhere else. Because they were thinking, we do not have a temple anymore, so we need to change some things up.
Yep. However, this movie does make a minor difference.
And what's the minor difference?
They said that, yes, that could have theoretically happened, but years beforehand there was a raid from the Egyptian pharaoh that likely took the actual thing, and they have a whole bunch of stuff around that. Therefore, justifying its still existence.
Yeah.
So we're leaning into historical fiction here.
Yeah.
But
I don't really care that much.
Yeah, this is extremely not offensive historical fiction.
Compared to our previous episode about the man who would be king, this one, it teeters a lot with historical fiction, but if, say, for example, Rudyard Kipling wasn't a Freemason, he was just using the imagery to create some fiction and whatnot, sure. However, when you know that he's a hardcore Freemason, it starts to teeter of oh my god, here we go again.
Yeah, it teeters from historical fiction to propaganda.
Yeah.
While this one, it does not attempt to convince you that what it's doing is real.
Uh-huh.
Therefore, it is firmly within historical fiction.
Yep.
So therefore, we could give it some liberties here.
Yep. My favorite thing, though, that I know a lot of people, especially if you're the more religious type, they always say about the Ark of the Covenant, you're not supposed to touch it. Well, yeah, that's true, because if you touched it, you would basically be struck down by God himself. However, they don't really do that in this sense. I do know, from what I'm recalling, they don't ever touch it, but there is one thing that they do. They open the damn thing.
That's the only time they touch it.
Yeah, the only time they touch it.
There's two individuals that touch it, aka grabbing the lid and opening it. That is the only time they touch it.
Yeah.
They're very careful to not touch it in the movie.
Yeah, it does say in the Bible, there were several people that died from touching it. I know, one that's very off of the top of my mind. When they were transporting the Ark of the Covenant from Egypt, or at least Mount Sinai or wherever they built this damn thing, and they were taking it to what would become Jerusalem, the people that were carrying it slipped, and they were about to fall, and it was going to break. Somebody was right next to it, and he held his arm up to stop it. And even, he didn't mean to intentionally touch it. He was trying to save it. He still died.
Yep.
So it was like, well, thanks for your help there, buddy. You still die. But
the rules, the rules.
The rules are the rules. Which, that's a. If you really want to talk about God being a dick, literally look no further than the Old Testament.
Yeah.
Good Lord.
Go look at the Hebrew Bible. Yeah, things are brutal.
Yep. But I don't really remember recalling if they ever said anything about opening the thing. I do think they might have actually opened it, like they had a method to open it or whatever, especially for, like, say, important Jewish holidays like Yom Kippur, for example, when, you would say the divine name only once in the year. You can only say the divine name.
Yep.
Which, whole thing. I love how we just turned into like a weird biblical lesson.
I knew this was going to have a Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yep.
This is probably one of the most religious movies we have in our list. Which is weird, because we have a documentary about pastures, and that's a movie about pastures, not religion.
Exactly. Oh my god, yes. Okay, so I can probably say, like, it portrays at least the accuracy of, like, at least the best that you could possibly do with the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
This is the best you could probably do, to be honest with you, because the thing is still mysterious, and you only have an old religious text to go off of.
Yeah.
So really and truly, I'd say it does its job fine enough. You can only do so much.
And the thing I actually really like about this, they do an excellent job of writing in this movie of keeping it mysterious.
Mm-hmm.
It is constantly like this aura on screen. We don't see it until like about 2/3 into the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It is just a whisper everyone talks about. The Ark of the Covenant. They really build this up, rightfully.
Mm-hmm.
Rightfully, like, build this up, and they find it. They have this big reveal. And then as the movie goes on, it is... At the end of the day, the plot is relatively simple. It's a MacGuffin plot.
I was going to say, like, it's a really bare by the bones plot.
Yeah, it's a MacGuffin plot.
Which, in all honesty, it doesn't... It's, like, for me, whenever somebody says, like, they try to make, like, a thin plot as a criticism... No, I think the entire point is, like, if you have a thin plot, it's fine as long as you execute it perfectly or as best as you can. In which, this is a MacGuffin plot, which we'll talk about a movie where it has a literal MacGuffin in it as well.
So, the example I always like to give to that when people are like, oh, the story's, like, either nothing or, like, way too, like, whatever. Like, it's so basic. Doesn't make Seinfeld a bad TV show.
Yeah.
Seinfeld doesn't have a plot, but it's still one of the best sitcoms ever made.
Like, literally, Seinfeld is the quintessential, like, example of this is modern storytelling in a nutshell.
Yeah.
It's a show about nothing. There is no goal, there is no rhyme, no reason, but you don't go into it for the plot, you go into it for the characters.
Yeah. Which if you cannot tell by this movie... instigating the wave of Indiana Jones movies, this movie does an amazing job.
Yep.
This movie has such amazing characters, which I'll tackle on a little bit here soon, but this will be a good transitionary one, because there's one final thing I do want to talk about before we move on to the next part. Mm-hmm. And that is the method in which they handle the writing, because, yes, handles in very much classical adventure, and you can tell that they love this genre. Mm-hmm. They love this genre. This is handled so lovingly to the classical early 20th century adventure novels.
Yep.
That this is absolutely a love letter passion project film. Mm-hmm. So, I personally love it for that. It feels so good to be able to watch something, and it's like, this is someone literally making something they wanted to make as a child.
Yeah. Let's see. Is there anything else you have for writing? Like
transitionary point for writing to the next topic. I have.
What's the next topic?
Next topic, because we'll be talking about characters. Mm-hmm. There's so many iconic characters in this movie.
Yes.
So many iconic characters, both written and acted amazingly. So this is why I'm treating it as a bit of transitionary, because we obviously have Harrison Ford and Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. We also have the character, Marianne, working as a relatively strong female lead.
Yeah, all things considered.
Like,
like, if you compare her to her contemporaries of years past in adventure novels, she actually holds her own. Meanwhile, the others have like.
One of the biggest problems with older adventure is damsel in distress.
Yep.
Damsel in distress. If you see a female character, they're gonna get captured. They're gonna used as bait by the villains.
Yep.
And then they're gonna have to make the choice of whether they save the girl or not, and all that. They do a little bit of that with Marianne.
Yep.
They do a little bit. But that's like, it's required of the genre by now.
But she actually can fight. She actually can hold her own.
The only time she loses is when, okay, fair enough. It's like, you're not beating 70 dudes with a frying pan. Yeah. It's like, okay, that's believable.
Yep.
But like, she regularly is a force. She is to the point that the character of Indiana Jones is like, oh god. That he is regularly, like, he is outplayed by her. And it is a very good way of doing a strong, actual female character for the time period, especially that genre. Because by god, that genre had it. That genre before Indiana Jones had it bad. It was desperate.
Yep.
But acting-wise, Harrison Ford obviously does an amazing job. Harrison Ford, I've only ever seen him phone it in Star Wars movies.
Yep. Or at least forcing out his lines and whatnot. With this one, you can at least tell that, like, yeah, I'm having fun with this.
Yeah, he's having fun with it. You can absolutely tell, though, later Harrison Ford, when he's, like, brought back to redo a movie, he's like, oh, I'm just gonna phone this in.
Honestly, I don't know for sure, though, because it's like, it took a lot for him to go back and do Star Wars, only to be killed off in the first movie that he returned in.
Yeah.
But with Indiana Jones, it's still...
Oh, yeah, no, the first three movies, he's having fun with it.
Oh, yeah, he's having fun with it. But I mean, like the newest ones that he did, I
haven't seen them.
The Crystal Skull is not worth
Okay, I've seen Crystal Skull. I haven't seen...
the newest one...
Dial of Time, I think it's called, or something like that.
I haven't seen that one either, and honestly, whenever I saw the trailer and stuff, I just thought, this is not me. No, this ain't for
I'm
me.
probably going to watch it at some point, not given the money, though.
I mean, like, whenever I heard, apparently, when they screened this movie for the first time for, Ford and all these people and stuff, they gave him, an over 15-minute long ovation, and I just thought, okay, this feels like corporate media trying to get people to want to see this movie.
Yeah, which if I remember it bombed.
Yeah, it did not do well at all. I was thinking, this feels so forced. Imagine the test screening was actually these people were bored, so we don't have enough time to change the movie or anything, so let's just say they gave an 8-minute ovation for him. That'll work. That'll get people to see this movie, and no, it bombed. If anything, more people had more fun with the Indiana Jones video game that came out a couple years ago.
Right, yes.
A lot of people loved that because it captures it very well, even though it doesn't have Harrison Ford in the game. He doesn't voice it. Weirdly
enough, some of the best Indiana Jones media actually doesn't have Harrison Ford in it.
Yeah.
Because, if you want to watch more Indiana Jones, don't watch the effing sequel movies. Watch Young Indiana Jones, the TV show.
Shoot, I forgot that was a thing.
It's very good. It's a very good TV show.
Is it a cartoon or a live action?
It's live action.
Okay.
Shoot, I'm forgetting the name of the actor that's in it, but it's a very young known actor. It's he's playing Indiana Jones, and then Harrison Ford appears for one episode out of 160.
I'm going to look this up for myself here, but you can continue on.
Yeah. So, the other actor I want to give... There's two actors I want to give a standout to. The character of Balok. Whoo, he makes himself such a good villain in this movie. He is such a hateable a-hole. He is just the smarmiest slime that crawled out of a sewer. Just Indiana Jones. I just want you to know. It's just... Oh, shut your face hole. It's so good. And the other one that is really good that I have to give a handout to is the Third Reich correspondent to Balok, who the one that originally goes after Marianne and has the pendant burned into his hand.
That's right.
He is so good. He is such a minor character, but he oral farmed in this movie, man. I don't know how else to put it.
Everyone would have thought I would hear Ortharmed in my podcast. But you know what? It works here. I'll give it that. It works here.
Because anytime he enters a scene, he acts it so well. He is this menacing force, and the actor does such a good job of the very minor... You don't really understand the necessity I have. Like, so soft-spoken, with a small smile on his face. He, like, rubs his hands together nervously and kind of hunches over. And he is terrifying. He does such a good... Like, you would never think an acting style like that could be a terrifying villain. But you can realize the way he acts it. He looks like such a small, unassuming man. Mm-hmm. But he acts like he has all of the power in the room.
Yeah.
And it's so, like, I want to give a standout to that actor. I don't know his name, but...
I can't recall either, to be honest.
He did such an amazing job in that part.
Mm-hmm.
Full applause to him. I think he's one of the biggest standouts I have to give.
Alright. Generally, pretty much agree.
Yep.
Everybody, like... put life into the characters. No questions asked. Is there anything else for acting that you want to add? Alright. Production. So.
The character of Indiana Jones is long become one of the most iconic looks for any person in their 40s going to a Halloween party.
Yeah.
And that's for good reason. It is an iconic look.
I'm only going to share this story one time, but I'm not going to name him out or anything like that. But what happened was... This whole thing was so, like, the whole character design of Indiana Jones is so iconic that a lot of people like to cosplay as him.
Mm-hmm.
My cousin's husband, or at least when they were dating, right before they graduated, for his senior photos, I want to say it was his mom, made him dress up in Indiana Jones outfit. This was right around the time after, by the way, right around after when the Crystal Skull came out.
Oh, God.
Yeah, so... Anytime whenever he wants to get snarky with us about something, we just pull out the photo of him in Indiana Jones costumes and we're like, do you want us to show your kids this? Do you really want that? And I mean, keep in mind, he's already got like 3 children.
Yeah.
They're very small, but it's like, we're going to hold this over your head for years. This is so fucking funny. And we were just all like, dude, you look like a dork. I mean, like, look, if you want to dress up as Indiana Jones and stuff like that for, like, conventions and all this other stuff, but seeing your photos?
No, seeing your photos weird.
That is so odd.
But yeah. So first things first, production-wise.
Yes.
This is a desert film.
This podcast has been brought to you by sand.
Put it on the list!
It's everywhere. Get used to it.
This is not the first, not the last desert movie.
God
not even close.
God almighty. One of these days, I gotta put a bunch of sand on this table.
You gotta put a green screen. We just gotta film from the Sahara.
Oh. I know what I'm gonna invest in this podcast someday.
In reality, what should be here is like just a poster of what the movie is, but like...
You know, that would be a good idea. Anyhow, yes, another sand movie.
Another sand movie.
Sand.
But either way.
It's everywhere.
The thing I also have to give a standout to production-wise, some of the most iconic music.
Yeah, that's...
John Williams strikes again.
You bastard. You beautiful...
Da, 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 da.
Stop it, I don't want to get copyright strikes. Even then, it was off tune by like...
Oh, yeah.
0.2.
That's how you avoid it. What? Like, look how off-key that is. Still recognizable.
Yeah. Even if you miss it by like... God knows how many notes we missed it off of. At least you can recognize what it is.
It is up there. If you sat me down, put a gun to my face and went, what's the 5 most iconic movie scores ever created? This is going on the list easy.
Yeah.
Like, immediately. Whew. It's this and 4 other John Williams films.
Good lord, you don't have to strike his ego all that much. Is he even still alive?
I mean, to be fair, it's Indiana Jones, Star Wars, Jaws, Jurassic Park. And then, like, one other. That's probably not John Williams, honestly, but I can't.
I want to say Lord of the Rings is up there.
Who could be?
Because I know a lot of people love bringing up the Shire song.
Yeah, that also Merchant of Isengard.
That's
Isengard theme is really good.
That is true.
Either way, we're not.
Anyway, the musical score, possibly the most well-known piece of the production aspects.
But beyond that, like going into design, the costuming obviously is ridiculously iconic. Ridiculously iconic. And yeah, like the look of the movie. One of the most parodied things about the movie is the map.
Yeah. Oh my god.
Which is just a picture of the world map with put a little red dot, red line all the way to where they're going, and another dot.
Just about every referential piece of media, like television show and whatnot, they'll have a random piece of a meme. Like, it literally is in its own right a meme. It's literally by definition a meme.
Yeah.
It
is a mimetic factor.
Yep.
Do you have anything to say about design?
No, I'm just excited for. Wait, you mean production?
Well, I moved on to design.
Oh,
yeah.
Well, I was about to say like the design aspect. I was about to say like, I was mainly just waiting. Like, I thought we were still in production.
No,
I was gonna say in design. Literally for me,
I was talking about costuming. That's design.
Oh yeah. My favorite aspect would be the amount of sets that they're in. They are.
Oh my god, sets.
They are everywhere. Like, look, you start off in a random rainforest. I want to say it's in South America.
I think it's Amazonas.
Yes. So you start in Amazonas, and then you're in the United States at a university. Then you fly all the way to Nepal. Then you fly all the way over to Egypt, Palestine. You're everywhere.
And then I believe the movie ends off near Cyprus. Or at least they station in Cyprus for a short bit before continuing on into the Aegean.
I think so, yeah. I'm trying to remember where they were trying to end up at. Because it
was just supposed to be a random Greek island that had no one on it.
Yeah. Honestly, whenever I was rewatching it, I honestly always thought that they were going somewhere that was supposed to be like a biblical location, like Mount Sinai or something or anything.
No, because they're on the way to Germany.
Yeah, I know. But it's like, for a long time, I thought that's what it was, but I guess I was misremembering, and I was like, oh, they actually went here. I did not think that.
Yeah, they're just on the way to Germany, and midway through, they're just like, hey, let's open this up before we get there.
And then they melt their faces off. Which, by the way, I mean, I guess this would be a part of writing, but still the design aspect of it, I wonder how many people were traumatized by that scene of them opening up the Ark of the Covenant.
My favorite part about it is, so you know the scene where all the faces are melting and all that? The movie almost got an R rating before they negotiated with the board, and they went, what if we put slightly more fire over Balak's head exploding? And they went, alright, that's PG. They put slightly more fire effects over the Balak's head exploding, and they went, yeah, no, it's not an R movie anymore, that's PG.
Oh my god.
Crazy the rating scale back in the day. Yep. PG and R, those are the two ratings.
There's only one more aspect before we wrap this whole review up that I want to say that I love the movie for doing, and how it ends. Usually whenever you have like an artifact related movie or whatever, it would be like, oh, it's in a museum, or like this is now a tourist attraction or whatever, like if it's Atlantis, for example.
Yep.
No, this movie just ends on like, not really a bleak note, but it's like, oh yeah, we got it, but it's actually in a crate, and now it's in a massive storage facility like SCP Foundation, where good luck finding it now.
They do the exact same thing that they just did. They went, it was hidden for all time, we're hiding it again. It needs to remain hidden.
I mean, literally, it's basically a weapon by God.
Yes.
So keep it hidden, because if it's in the wrong hands, like the Nazis, literally, you could say it's like an allegory for the atomic bomb, even though it doesn't end that way. With how we did it with the bomb, we still have it around, just sitting in a warehouse or in a random field somewhere. Who knows? It could be right underneath our feet the entire time.
Knowing the U.S. Army might just be.
God damn this country. Anyway, would you recommend this movie? Well, actually, this is your movie, so you should be asking me that. Why do I?
Yeah, would you recommend this movie?
Obviously.
This is one of the easiest recommendations.
I mean, like, in terms of, like, of a movie to, like, study and understand, like, okay, how do you make a movie and how do you execute it well? This is pretty much one of my main examples of, like, grab a screenplay copy of this movie and just compare it, and it's like, yeah, it does all the little things right. If not that, it does it perfectly.
And how would you rate this movie out of 10?
Pretty obviously a 10.
Yeah,
it's not one of my favorite movies of all time, but I commend it enthusiastically.
There is a reason this movie is in the cultural zeitgeist so heavily. It does everything right.
Yep. It is literally timeless.
Yeah.
So,
moving on to the next one.
Jumping off on a different tangent right here.
Very close to the same year.
Yeah, actually, weirdly enough. However, yes, it's live action, but with a different medium. We got some puppets here.
Yes! This is one of the first non-Muppets related Jim Henson films.
Yeah. So, The Dark Crystal.
The Dark Crystal.
1,000 years ago. I forgot the entire introduction of this movie as I was saying it.
1,000 years ago, in this land, there was a crystal.
Yes.
And it shattered.
Yes, it shattered. And now there's only two creatures that roam the world. One of whom is scarier than all hell.
So yes.
Alright, so, The Dark Crystal. How do I even introduce this movie?
So, first things first, our experiences.
Yes, obviously. So, you want to go first, or should I?
I think because it's your movie, you should lead on your experience with this film.
So, my first time ever seeing this movie, holy crap, it was a long time ago. I was but a wee lass in elementary school, or as the British weirdos like to call it, grade school. Because why? We were, I want to say this was like maybe the 3rd or 4th grade. I don't know what part of the year it was, but it was like one of those things that's like, oh, we're all going to go watch a movie or something like that. But we're all going to be in this crowded room that was the music room. So we were all packed in there like little baby sardines. And they were like, we're going to watch this cool movie. It's got puppets in it. It was the fucking Dark Crystal. And like, we didn't get to finish the movie, but we got to, well, that scene in the beginning of the movie that I'm sure would traumatize anybody, even a grown-ass man, such as myself. And that was my introduction to the Dark Crystal. And I think I saw it in its entirety maybe a couple years after the fact, and ever since then, we said that this movie was like the opposite of, like, it's not in the pop culture zeitgeist or anything like that, but it is
it definitely has a cult following.
A massive cult following. If anything, I would say this is my prime example of a movie or a franchise of a with a massive cult following. I don't call Dark Crystal a franchise because it's only got one movie, and it does have several other pieces of media, but I'll get to that in a minute.
Yeah.
But ever since I saw this movie, yeah, I love this movie. It's got flaws. God knows does it have flaws, but the extra media around it, it's got comics, it had just had a Netflix television show, which I am still bitter, got canceled after 1 season. Fuck you, Netflix. It ended on a goddamn cliffhanger, which is the worst thing imaginable, but it's actually a prequel, so you kind of already know what happens. I love so much about the Dark Crystal, and I still to this day, even though it's been years since I've read the comics and everything else. So going back into watching it, it was so much fun, but also, yeah, I can see the problems still to this day.
So, as for myself, my first time watching it was 13 hours ago.
You see, I have a history with this movie too. It began 13 hours ago.
Yes. So years back, I watched the, opening, the first, 2 minutes.
Yeah.
But, that was very much in passing, very much oh, and here's The Dark Crystal, made by Jim Henson, 2 minutes, and then, I didn't actually watch the movie.
Yes.
Someone showed me the introduction, and I went, oh, so that's Dark Crystal.
Kind of,
yeah.
It gives you the introduction of, what the world is, but it's, it's going to be one of the criticisms I have about this movie,
yeah.
But,
yeah. I saw, that was, 2 or so years ago. I was like, okay, Dark Crystal. Then I actually watched it about 13 hours ago, so this is brand new for me.
Yep.
I knew roughly about some stuff of the movie, but, like, I have no nostalgia glasses going into this comparatively. So.
Oh, yeah. I do, but I fully understand why people will have problems with this movie. In which, yeah, we'll get into that. But there is something I wanted to mention about this. This was, I'm not sure how much you know, at least about like the development of this movie, at least around it. Jim Henson made this movie. He wanted it to be a franchise, which it pretty much obviously is. Well, going into it and like after watching the movie, he was like, yeah, this feels like it was needing more sequels or something like that, or at least needed more stuff. Well, when it happened, yeah, generally it was well received in some areas, less in others. And the performance of the movie was, I wouldn't say amazing nor bad. It was like middle of the road, but it wouldn't be enough to like warrant like, oh, we would have enough money to make a sequel and stuff and bring people back. The movie's sequel was in development hell for not years, decades.
Yep.
This movie is notorious for many other things. The main thing it was well known for is that its development hell in the sequel for anything related to it was brutal, and it only was exacerbated because of Jim Henson's death about a decade later. So it's like, yeah, theaters don't want it now, and nobody cares about the Dark Crystal except for a few weirdos like myself. So
the other thing to note, because as I said, it was delayed by decades.
Yeah.
There is a thing that's very noticeable about this movie. When it theoretically, I'm making presumptions here, I'm not an expert, but what I presume it was written, because I knew it was in production hell for a long time, but I can make a presumption based off the year it came out, and when it might have originally released. There was a tendency in movies at the time, where it was the fantasy boom, where Conan the Barbarian, Zion Princess Warrior, like, a lot of lower budget fantasy-esque movies were coming out, particularly like leaning around like dark fantasy and that kind of thing. A lot of those were coming out, and it would become such a big deal that this is where we also get the boom of the fantasy TTRPG, because fantasy was enormous in like 60s to 70s. It became so big, and that's where we get like the boom of TTRPGs. This is where like AD&D came from and all that. So fantasy was such a huge deal. This movie feels like it was released during that period, but it was like 20 years later.
Yeah. Even then, like during the 80s and stuff, that was when like the fantasy craze reached its like you could say nadir, like its lowest point. Like nobody cared about it at all.
It was a dying genre by that point, because it was so enormous, but like it was produced. There was too much.
Yep.
It was bloated.
Nobody wanted any fantasy or anything. It only took Lord of the Rings to fully bring it back out from the depths of hell.
Yeah, think of superhero movies, where like fantasy movies for the 60s, 90s is superhero movies for the 2010s, 2020s, where it didn't start during that time period. But oh my god, was there a 500 billion movies of that genre made, and everyone got tired and no one wanted to watch them anymore. So the genre, like, just eventually people go, ugh, I don't want to watch another one. So that's kind of what happened to fantasy.
Yep.
And this movie was during that time period. It was going to be during the peak of it, and it released closer to the fall of it.
Yep. So, with all that said, shall we start with the formal review?
Yes.
Spoilers ahead, obviously.
Yep.
Alright, so writing. So the basic plot, if I had to dumb down the plot of this movie, it is centered around the Dark Crystal.
Yep.
Funny enough. Where this Dark Crystal was shattered over 1,000 years ago, and right now it is in possession of these mythical creatures that are known as the Skeksis, which look like
vultures.
Look like vultures, yeah, like really skin-tight, gross-looking things.
Yeah. It's a thing called a Nagpa.
Yeah. However, they're not the only creatures, like, they're not the only species that roam this world, but they're basically kind of like ruling it because they have possession of the crystal.
Yep.
Then you have this other race that's important they have an actual name, but most people will tend to call them the Mystics.
Yep.
In which...
Even the movie just calls them the Mystics.
Yeah. The Mystics are pretty much like, they're supposed to represent like the more like goodly aspect.
Yeah.
In which, yeah, pretty much fair.
I would say they lean more into the druidic aspect.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, they tend to like just hang around and they abide by nature, and then they do this very fun... Oh.
Yep.
And it's like, yeah, that's funny.
That's why I compare them to the druidic aspect. It is very solemn, it is very, like, group-based, and they have these forms of deep rituals within themselves.
Yes. And then there's this third race that's very important, in which I actually forgot the name of...
It was like a Smelf or something. Like, it was some weird effing...
Gelflings.
Like, Gelfling, that's what it was. Gelfling.
Yep, Gelfling. So the Gelfling, they are, well, the third race that's very important. However, they're mostly dead.
Yep.
In which they were killed off by the Skeksis. However, we are led by our main character known as Jen.
Yep.
And he is tasked following a prophecy that says the Skeksis will be defeated when the crystal is reunited by a Gelfling. So yay, another prophecy.
Yep.
Another prophecy story in which
you can tell this was made in the 60s and 70s fantasy because that is a trope of that time period.
Yep.
The Great correct me if I'm wrong, but was it Zion Princess Warrior that like famously did? Was it Zion? I can't remember, but
couldn't tell you. So I mentioned it earlier in this review, like in like the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Like, yeah, its plot is very by the numbers, in which it's not a bad thing as long as it's executed really well. Dark Crystals, on the other hand, is an example I'd say is not exactly the best when it comes to doing the prophecy aspect of a story, because Jen, he's supposed to be the chosen one.
Yep.
I don't think he's the chosen one, to be honest with you. Because he does things that are like, does this guy even deserve to be the hero of his own story? Because a different character, I'd say, actually fits the mold better.
Yep.
And it's the female Gelfling known as Kira. She actually knows the land and actually knows a lot more than what our main character is supposed to apparently know. At least, like, she knows the crystal, she knows...
It's crazy because...
Yeah, it's crazy.
One was raised by the Mystics.
Yeah.
And one was raised by random F-off villagers.
Yep. Like, literally our version of the Ewoks in this entire scenario.
Yeah, no, like... And the one that was raised by the villagers knows the lore of the world better than the Mystics.
Yep. Freaking effing crazy, in that matter of fact. Which it kind of sucks, too, because it's like, I like Kira far more than I do Jen. Because at least then Kira actually has a character going off of. In which, yeah, she shares a similar backstory to Jen of like, my parents died after being captured by the Skeksis. And Jen is like,
oh no!
That's crazy.
Yeah, like...
Alright, there's another aspect of the writing that I do have somewhat of an issue with. And it's kind of like throwing a lot at you when it comes to its lore. Like, it throws a lot at you. In which things happen, but they're not fully given chance to, like, flesh itself out. Like, for example, Kira and Jen jump off of a cliff, and then all of a sudden she has wings, and it's like, of course I have wings. I'm a female. And it's like...
Yeah, that's like why?
It's like, why? Like, there's
that
a lot
should have been mentioned earlier, because now it's a plot convenience.
Yeah, because, like, they would have had multiple chances to use the wings to fly and get past all of, like, the Skeksis' like, army of, like, weird bug creatures. It's like, this would have been mentioned way before. Like, this is similar to, like, Lord of the Rings. I'm like, they could have used the eagles to fly to Mount Mordor type of scenario here. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think. What another aspect of the writing? Is there anything you want to mention for writing?
Writing-wise, yeah. So the plot itself, I actually think, is relatively fine.
Yeah.
I don't have much, but, like, I find so much of it is kind of just driven by, like, yeah, that's just kind of how it works, bud.
Yeah.
And
like
the main character gets lucky a lot.
Yeah, like the main one I can think of easily is like whenever he visits that woman that has the like that whole what is it called? There's an actual term for it, but it's like the Terranium, for example, that watchtower. She pours out a bag full of random crystals, and she's like, "One of these is a piece from the Dark Crystal," and he just asks, "Which one?" She's like, "Don't know." And it's just like, "You got to figure it out, Gelfling." And she just moseys on away, and he just looks at all of these and is like, "Which one could it be?" And he just randomly picks up his flute and plays it.
No, there's a thing he says beforehand.
What?
Because he picks up 3 of them and goes, "I know it's one of these 3."
That's it.
It's
yes.
just like, how?
Yeah, it's
how
like,
do you know it's one of those 3?
And this is an issue where the Dark Crystal really shines about with it. So in the comics that was released about a decade ago, it's actually a prequel, and it actually explains, for example, like, why can Jen just play a flute and it glows? They actually explain it far more in detail in the comics. So if you've never seen those, like if you've never read those and then you watch the movie, you're going to be confused in some aspects of the movie.
As someone who likes watching these stupid fantasy films,
yes,
because I'll go ahead and admit I like watching these stupid fantasy films.
Mm-hmm.
I was fully expecting watching the scene when he like pulled out the flute. I was like, oh, okay, like I fully understand that there's like, oh, okay, they're doing the thing that they established fairly early on. He plays the flute and that can do things.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. I was fully expecting him to be wrong about the 3 and to be like, wait a second. And then play the flute and the witch actually has it on her, like as a necklace or something like that. And I was like, that's the plot point they're going to do. That's going to make sense. She was testing him to be like, here's all the fake crystals.
Because at least then it would be a test of like, is this the actual chosen one?
Exactly.
At least then that's like they're playing into like you're playing into like the trope of like the chosen one, but it's like at least then he gives a characteristic of being a quote unquote chosen one.
Because I thought that's what it was going to be. I was like, oh, she's testing him. No, she's just actually just a weird old woman.
She really much is, and which in the comics, an actually interesting character.
Oh, fair enough.
She actually has like a son. And everything else, like he's the main character of the Dark Crystal, in which, in my opinion, the best character in the Dark Crystal isn't in the movie.
Oof.
Yeah, her son and whatnot, at least her adoptive son, very interesting character. And I think one of my favorite lines is like he just asks his mom, like, "Will you remember me even after I'm long gone?" Because it's established that she will continue to live on even after he dies, because he was adopted. She just tells him, "I will never forget you, my sweet child, because I raised you as my own." But of course, yeah, he was never established in the movie, so it's like, well, that sucks. But yeah, there's a lot of lore in this movie that they just throw at you. Like,
I don't mind that.
I don't mind it either. But I can see it for like somebody that's never seen this movie and they're just going in. They're like, what on earth is going on? Like, for example, it is established during the movie because like I couldn't fully remember, but like in this movie, the Skeksis and the Mystics, they are hinted at throughout the entire length of the movie, like they're connected somehow.
Yep.
Like if one dies, the other one also corresponds to die.
Yep.
Like they're two halves in a whole, and like this is whole motif in the movie of like there's two halves that make a whole and whatnot. And then at the very end of the movie ends with like the Skeksis and the Mystics. Once the crystal is reunited, they become like this eldritch being that's like essentially like a god, and it's like, huh, what? Because I just saw I remember one person I showed this movie to, and they were so confused at the end. They're like, what? And I just said, yeah.
So that's not the problem that bothers me.
Understandable.
So, because I watched that and I was like, oh, okay. I mean, that's the ending.
Yeah.
It makes sense relative to the lore they established in the beginning.
Yeah, it actually establishes it, but it's just still like, in my opinion, it comes out of left field.
So that's my big problem. I watched it and I was like, oh, okay. Like, I got it, but for an actual movie experience, that should have been communicated in a different way, because this is where, sadly, the limitation of film comes in.
Yes.
This movie is, unfortunately, a good example of the limitation of film when it comes to storytelling.
Yes.
Because you have to communicate a story within about an hour and a half to 4 hours. That is your, like, minimum to maximum gauge.
Yep.
If you do it less than an hour and a half, you're not really telling a story.
Yeah.
If you're doing it more than 4 hours, you need to make a mini-series, not a comic show.
And which, evidently enough, they did make a miniseries out of it for Netflix, but
gone now.
Yeah,
It's
so.
gone.
But my bigger problem with it is just how they communicate. My problem isn't the information itself, because watching it, I was like, okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. That makes sense. The problem is how they communicate it. So my biggest problem with the movie is by far the writing.
That's pretty much what I'm trying to... I don't think I fully communicated it as like that. It's like, the information is not bad. It's just how it's presented and communicated to the audience. It's clunky as hell.
Yeah, I don't think it's confusing. I think it's clunky.
Yeah.
Clunky is a very good word for it. Now, there is one thing that does have to be specified that I can see as someone who... with my deep experience of this movie of 13 hours, I can be able to say with great depth, I can see why someone younger watching this is perfectly fine giving that a slide.
Yeah.
Watching this in the super weird, clunky way it communicates information, I just watch this and go, if I was a kid, I would not give a crap about how they're going to communicate. I'm just caring that the information on screen is happening.
So there is one thing, though, about this movie, though. The target audience.
Yep.
This was not meant for children, actually.
Oh, okay.
No, this was actually meant for pretty much young adults.
That surprises me.
Around, like, either teenagers or even adults in general, because Jim Henson was always just seen as, like, oh, he was a children's entertainer, and he was kind of getting tired of that, so he thought... I want to make something that was serious with my puppetry. I want to make like something that's mature, dark, and everything that would actually bring adults in.
So, okay, that is a fault, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because that initially establishes one thing I think is extremely faulty. You can make something mature and dark for kids. Mm-hmm. Just because it's mature and dark doesn't mean it's for adults. Oh, yeah. Something can be very mature and be for kids. Like... that is a weird fault I find with a lot of writers. You can have something very mature, but it's ultimately in, like, how you communicate the information is ultimately the ends.
Literally, for me, like, my example is, well, funnily enough, it's a Pixar movie. It's Up. It perfectly, like, the first 10 minutes, I always say, it's the best part of the movie because it establishes everything we need to know about our main character. And a large amount of it was without dialogue, and kids can perfectly understand the mature aspect of his, like, the whole maturity of, like, what happens to him as he got older and why he's the man he is today.
So the example I like to give, actually...
What's yours?
...is actually outside of the medium specificity. So medium specificity is the medium that you speak within. We do films in this one.
Yes.
The one I actually like to give, the example, is within music. Is the song Hey Ya.
Hey Ya?
Because the song Hey Ya, you probably are familiar.
Yes.
Hey Ya,
yep,
Hey Ya.
Yep.
What is the song about? Because it's not about Hey Ya. It's about an abusive relationship of a father and a mother that are on the fast verge to divorce, and they have 2 kids, and they're desperately trying to get it to work for the 2 kids.
Yeah.
But they absolutely hate each other's guts and trying to figure that out. That's what the song's about. That is an extremely mature, depth song. But if you listen to the song, that's not the audience that's consuming it.
Yeah.
The audience that's consuming it is very much, it is a party, dance kind of song.
Yep.
So that is where we talk about medium specificity and in relation to the message and its tone.
Yeah.
That is an extremely dark message. Mm-hmm. But it's presented in a way that would be great for a general audience.
Mm-hmm. Not disagreeing with you whatsoever on, like, saying, like, oh, that's a bad thing. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's what he wanted to do.
Exactly.
But it's like, buddy, I am sorry, but if you're trying to target for adults and whatnot, the main thing is like, the poetry, yes, you can make things that are a lot more mature, that are intended for adult audiences and whatnot, but it's like, still, it's like, you can still make this work for kids and whatnot, and still being dark. Like, heck, for example, like the whole scene where, like, in the beginning of the movie, you have the Skeksis, one of them dies, and he fully disintegrates. You can keep that in there and scare the kids and whatnot. I mean, shoot, Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure still exists. Yep. So, you can still do all that.
I think that came after this movie.
Yeah, it came
like the 90s.
Yeah, no, that came out in the late 80s. Like,
okay, I thought it was mid-90s.
I think it came out in 1988.
Interesting, because I thought that was like... I thought it was like Tim Burton made Beetlejuice in 91, and Pee-wee's was after Beetlejuice. Interesting. Okay.
Nope, because he made Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure right around after he got fired from Disney.
Oh.
And he worked with Paul Rubens, and that's when he became really famous, and that's when, a large amount of studios were like, hey, can you come and work with us? And that's when he made Beetlejuice, worked on Nightmare Before Christmas, and that's usually, literally, Pee Wee Herman made his career, or at least gave him a career renaissance.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough.
But
I got the order wrong there.
Yep, I digress. The writing in general in The Dark Crystal is, my opinion, the weakest aspect of this movie. However, with all that being said, like you said, if you're a kid watching this and you're not going to effing care, that's kind of like me a little bit. I do not effing care.
Yeah.
Because I fully enjoy this movie for dumb reasons, which I guess we'll get into here in a minute, but we got to talk about the acting part real quick. So, you have Jim Henson, you have all of his people that are in this movie. There's no real, A-list celebrities whatsoever.
Yeah.
It's just all the puppetry and all the people that worked on, doing all the fun stuff.
Yeah. Acting-wise, it's fine.
Yeah, this is not Jim Henson's best in terms of, voices. I think he voices as Jen, in which it's serviceable.
I think it's actually not good.
In terms of, what it is, I thought it was okay, but even then...
I'm less on it as you are.
I think it's, meh.
The acting is it's very stiff.
Yeah. I'm trying to... Oh! I remember something else about it now. So, remember when I said that Jim Henson wanted this for it to be to adults?
Yep.
The reason why is because he went out of his way to actually create, original languages for this movie.
Oh, he made some conlangs. Okay.
Yeah, so he pretty much, he did the whole conlangs and everything else. There was supposed to be no English dialogue whatsoever in this movie. So this was going to be very...
that's how you change your medium, to change it outside of kids, yeah.
Yep. So that's what he was doing, but when the test audiences were so confused by the plot, they were wondering, what is the plot even supposed to be again? Why is he trying to get this crystal again?
What they would have done if they did that.
That's when they had to rush and do the voices, and you can tell by even the lip movements, they don't sync up very well.
If they stuck with that, this movie would not be remembered as a good dark kids film. This would be remembered as a stoner film.
Very much fair enough. I don't know if it ever was released, but I would like to watch it just as an experiment of how different of an experience would it be? Probably not by much, because the writing aspect is still iffy.
Yeah.
But I would like to see what the original intention was from Jim Henson, but I don't think it would be enough to save the movie's writing aspect.
No. But
the acting, I can honestly, with that context in mind, I can see it as these guys were probably rushed to all hell to figure this all out.
Now you told me that makes sense. This acting does feel rushed because it feels very stiff.
Yep.
It doesn't feel like they had a lot of takes because it definitely feels like they were trying to figure out the lines. So that's how you know something's stiff is when the actor hasn't rehearsed the lines enough.
Yep.
They're just trying to get the words across.
Jim Henson, he creates some very iconic voices, with Kermit the Frog and whatnot, but it's this was before they were bought out by Disney and stuff, so he didn't have enough time to he couldn't ask Disney of hey, can you give us some more time to fix all this and whatnot. No, it was we gotta get this out now because we are in a time crunch right here. And yeah, you can see that. You can very much see that. Anything else for acting?
Nah, not really.
Alright, production.
So this is the standout, I would say.
Yeah.
Is
production and the design.
Yeah.
Very much a standout.
Well, the special effects in particular, because
Yes.
this falls in production. Is so obviously the film's using a lot of puppetry.
Yes.
And this is Jim Henson being a master of puppetry.
Yeah.
There's so many good shots of covering illusions and all of that, of being able to use this kind of puppetry.
Mm-hmm.
They
used quite a few people just to even operate just either one Mystic or one Skeksis.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Honestly, there could be a criticism with it in that they show it off so much that it's okay, now you're just showboating at this point.
Yeah, it is.
You're just doing this just to show hey, we can just do this. And we're just going to show you what we can do.
Yeah, it does come to the detriment of the plot a little bit.
Yep.
But there is moments where you're watching, it does feel like Jim Henson effing lapping the competition in puppetry. Because he was the master of puppetry. He was one of the best, like, puppetry artists of all time.
Yep. If not the best, honestly.
Probably. Like, the other ones I'm thinking of, they're really good, but he might be the best.
You probably have to go out into Europe or something like that to find...
Not quite, because there's other people that worked with Jim Henson that were also really, like, why am I forgetting his name? Like, old actor for Big Bird.
Oh, shoot. I forgot his name.
Yeah, like, you know who I'm talking... And then the old actor that did, Yoda and all that, like...
Yeah.
They did absolutely amazing work, but...
Like, he brought in, like, the best that he could to make this whole thing happen, but it hurts, like, it comes to the detriment of the plot, where it's like, you're showing off a large amount of stuff,
Yep.
where it's like, what is it called? Fluff, but no substance.
Yeah.
Which, it fits here. As much as I hate to say it, it definitely fits. Like, look, I adore puppetry so much. Like, Bryce would probably know firsthand. If there's anything I love in this world, it is fucking puppetry.
He loves his alternative special effects. He loves his puppetry. He loves his 3D stop motion. Like,
like, I will... it literally gets my rocks off. You can say that. You can say that. Not literally. It's a metaphor here. But the point is that I...
Not literally, but literally.
Yes. Literally, but not literally. But maybe literal. But no, the point is that I love when you have unique special effects that take so much time, but it's like the amount of effort that you put into something like that will always yield you a large amount of brownie points for me. But there are points where, yeah, it gets excessive and it just hinders everything else. Because, like, the plot is not up to the standard. Like, I have this, like, the plot is not up to the standards where the special effects are warranted with it. I think I worded that right.
Yeah.
Did I word that right? Okay. The fluff with no substance, though. Hate to say that, but really, it fits here. Makes me disappointed in a way, but yeah, you won't really get much of anything like this ever again. It's because of how expensive it is.
Yeah.
Because literally the reason why... Like,
this has to be someone's passion project.
Like, literally, the whole thing with, like, when I mentioned earlier, the Netflix show, it was so expensive. Like, it took years for them to make this and to get it finished up, and it was released in 2019. Incredible! And, like, the plot, great. Like, everything that I ever would want in a Dark Crystal, like, show or anything, it's all here. However, it was on a streaming service, and they don't make that much money in the grand scheme of things when you crunch up all the numbers and stuff. It was probably never going to make another season out of it. And it sucks because it, of course, ends off in a cliffhanger, and it's like, well...
Yeah.
Unless some random person, I don't know, I guess a billionaire or whoever, that's willing to throw millions of dollars at this to make a passion project to finish up the story, yeah, you're not going to really see something like this ever really again.
Yeah. Seeing a movie that's 100% puppetry is extremely rare. There's only a few things I can think of that are 100% puppetry, and it was very purposeful to do that, because, like, Dark Crystal, and then, like, Team America.
But even with those, it's like it's
marionettes.
It's marionettes, and it's cheap. Like those.
It wasn't cheap. It wasn't.
No. So like that method of puppetry, it's far more cheaper than
the Jim Henson method,
far more Jim Henson, and also what it was inspired by was from a television show from the 90s. I mean, not the 90s, the 60s, where they used the same exact stuff, and the most amount of stuff that they had to pay for was the props of, like, say, planes, rockets, and stuff. They made, like, 5 different shows based off of those marionette puppets.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I guess you could do that, because you can just reuse these puppets over and over again. Just paint over the original designs and whatnot. But with something like Dark Crystal, it's a lot more elaborate than that.
Yeah.
You're not having...
We're talking 100% puppetry.
You're not having, like, one person operating like a marionette puppet. You'll have some people, like, maybe up towards, like, 3 people inside of a puppet suit.
Yep.
Having to work this thing. And that's probably, like, on the small, like, on the lesser end of people that you need. You could probably need up to, like, maybe 5 people for, like, 1 puppet. It's insane!
So, production-wise, this is why I called it the standout. This is the, and probably will ever be, best produced 100% puppets film ever and will ever be made.
Most likely, yeah.
Like, if you are someone who is a fan of puppetry, this is a must-watch.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if this is your favorite. It's technically my favorite, but there is the large amount of problems with this movie. I mean, we talked about the whole thing with puppetry, the designs and whatnot. I guess we can segue this into design.
Yes, design, yeah.
I love the designs of the Skeksis and the Mystics. It fits very well. They are very similar to each other in small ways, in which it clues in that they're supposed to be two halves to make one whole.
Yep.
It works. And every other design and whatnot, they're just fine enough for me.
I'm not perfectly a big fan of the Gelflings.
Fair enough.
They fall a bit in the uncanny valley for me.
Yeah, that was a big criticism from like the original reviews and whatnot. They said the puppetry is mostly great. It's just the designs of the Gelflings are unnerving.
Yeah, they fall in uncanny.
Yeah, like the faces are like.
Because I was watching them and just been like, I wish they actually made those people.
Yeah.
Because they basically are just people.
That is true.
Like
in a lot of ways, that's true.
It would have been cheaper. It would have looked better.
I mean, they did.
The only thing that would have lost is it wouldn't have been 100% puppetry. But that's the thing this movie is going to do.
Technically, it's not 100% puppetry because when you have scenes of, say, Jen in the beginning of the movie running back to the mystic that raised him, that was an actual real person that was running.
Oh.
So like, but it was from far away, and he was wearing the Jen outfit. So like,
that's technically puppetry still.
Yeah, in a way, it's still puppetry, but it's like not 100% puppetry, but it's like just enough to where it's like, yeah, you won't be able to recognize it unless you think about it for like more than 5 seconds.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have nothing really else to say about this movie, to be honest. Would you recommend this movie to people?
Not easily. If you saw, like, if you would have liked this movie, you probably would have already saw it. In which case, if you're a younger kid, then go for it.
Yeah.
If you're a bit older, sure, it could come across your radar, but this film's I'd recommend way before this.
Yeah, this would not be the first movie of Jim Henson's that I would recommend.
Oh, absolutely not, no.
No, like, I would say, like, watch one of the random Muppets movies instead. And then if you're really a big stickler or, like, really big, like, fan of puppets, then, yeah, go for it.
Yeah, if you want to watch a Jim Henson film.
But if you really enjoy, like, Dark Crystal, then, yeah, sure, go for it with watching the Netflix show. And if you're really weird about it, you could be like me and read the comics.
Yeah, so as I said back in production, is if you're an enormous fan of puppetry and films, this is a must-watch.
Yeah.
But outside of that, not really. Like, unless you really like Jim Henson.
I mean, there's some bits to appreciate about it, but it's, like, very much of a, like, weird recommendation to give to people. Especially if they're not really a big puppet person.
Yeah.
How would you rate this movie out of 10?
I gave this a solid 6.
Yeah, for me, I actually gave it an 8. Because, well, it's obvious, like, rose-colored glasses and whatnot, but I fully get the problems of this movie. But, I still say, like, there's a reason why people... there's a reason why there's a cult following for this movie. There is a reason.
Oh, yeah. Like, if you're someone who loves this movie, I can see why. This absolutely scratches someone's itch.
Yeah.
But for me, personally, watching it, I'm like, there's just too many odd decisions being made. It handles fantasy in a way that's enjoyable, because fantasy is a hard genre to handle. It's one of those that I probably am the most critical of, is fantasy.
Mm-hmm.
But it handles, like, the parts that I'm typically most critical of fantasy genres in pretty well.
Mm-hmm.
Problem is at the expense of being a movie.
Yeah.
So because of that, I have to give it, like, some points, but in the end of the day, it's hard for it to be, like, any higher than a 6 for me.
Pretty fair. Alright, well, pretty long episode, actually.
Yeah, no, this is a longer one.
Yep. Alright, so, we are officially jumping into the halfway mark.
Yep.
Can you believe it, Bryce? We actually kept the series going for this long.
God dang.
Yeah.
I think, like, the 50, like, I think in the top 50 I said I gave us 3 episodes.
And we are well beyond that.
Yeah.
And with, by the way, also, We've reached past 20 subscribers as of the recording of this episode.
Dang. Tell me when we surpass subscribers to episodes.
That would be insane. But also be pretty fun.
Yeah.
Well, for next time, y'all are in charge of watching. Ooh, very interesting picks here. Back to the Future from Bryce's end.
Number 25
Yep. And Zombieland.
for his.
Yes.
Watch those by next time. That's your homework.
Wow. The one teacher in this room is giving out homework.
What?
You're the teacher, aren't you?
Oh, you're not a teacher?
No.
Okay.
I thought I told you about that before.
I thought you. This is not important.
Yep, okay. Well, I actually have no real way to end this episode other than 1,000 years ago.
1,000 years ago, the Dark Crystal.